AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. I was there live. Stay tuned for exclusive clips on that, as well as what I think is a better build for the month of April. AEW Dynasty is going to be better than WrestleMania. Welcome back, everybody. The Screw Script. Your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me this Thursday night. I was at Dynamite Live last night. Many of you knew that already, though, based on how many times I brought it up in my last video. Anyways, it was a blast. I had a lot of fun. I had front row balcony seats. They were perfect. I have great clips for you guys that I'll show you in a few minutes. But let's just get right into my claim as to why I think that Dynasty is going to be better than WrestleMania, and also the fact that the opening match to Dynamite last night had more pro wrestling than all of Raw combined. And that's not even a joke. Dynamite that I went to last night has an 8.0 on Cage Match as of right now. It was a pretty solid show. Every Dynamite this year has been at least solid, if not spectacular. With that opening match, Kenny Omega defeating Swerve Strickland took over 20 minutes. And like I said, I wasn't joking. On my last video, I predicted that they would have more pro wrestling than pretty much all of Raw, and I was right. That first match was over 20 minutes. Raw only had 33 minutes of pro wrestling in the entire show. So it was 2/3 of all of Raw in the opening contest. Not only that, but AEW had, I think, 4 more matches on the night after that, in a show that ran about 2 hours and I want to say about 15 minutes. It went over, and I did catch the end, which I actually uploaded my first short late last night. If you haven't seen it, just go click on my page. It's about a 2-minute clip of what happened after AEW went off the air. Brody King was involved. There was some guy, a very divisive guy, against the crowd, I'll just say that, who was holding up a certain sign. You get the point. The whole episode had pro wrestling in it. The Death Riders face Skyflight. We saw Zeta Steel in a match. It was a mixed tag match. Awesome fun there. Death Riders pick up that win. Mike Bailey defeated Rocky Romero in a squash. That was about the only thing I didn't really like about the night. We had the Dogs finally pick up a win against the conglomeration in Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. Clark Connors and David Finlay hit a great suplex, like brainbuster spear combo. I forget what they call that as their tag finisher together, but it was brutal looking. Great finish to that match. And then we had Tekla versus Mina in a solid, free women's championship match. Free on TV. It was good. It wasn't very long, but it was a solid match, and that alone went over 10 minutes. And then the main event, Darby versus Roosh in a no countout match. It was chaotic. It was everywhere, spots everywhere. Darby picks up the win. It was fantastic. And now, before I get on to the other part of my opening claim about Dynasty, here are some clips of that show last night. Enjoy.
finish of you, Danny Garcia, and the AEW Continental Champions, Seattle, Washington, weight 175 pounds, Darby Allin.
So yeah, great show. The big thing was obviously Kenny Omega beating Swerve. He is the new number one contender, still the number one contender. And the two went back and forth at it all night long. It was damn enjoyable. I had a lot of fucking fun watching MJF cut another fantastic promo. When he said never for like the 10th time, I just lost it. That promo had me laughing so hard. But MJF versus Kenny Omega for the championship at Dynasty, that match alone is going to be better than all of WrestleMania. It's going to be the match of the month of April. MJF says no matter what Kenny Omega does, he will never be on his level because he's the GOAT. Omega says he's not the same version of himself that he was back in 2023 when he's finally back to almost 100% and he's better than MJF, and he knows it, and that scares him so much. Omega says he wants the AEW Championship back, and on April 12th at Dynasty, he's going to get it. He cut a promo saying that he's the god, because if MJF goes by the devil, then Omega is the god of pro wrestling. One of the most entertaining promo segments on Dynamite so far in 2026, and it was a great showcase of just how damn good MJF is at only 30 years old. Now on to the other half of my opening claim. When I said that Dynasty is going to be better than WrestleMania, well, we already have 3 matches announced for Dynasty, and they are shaping up to be fantastic matches. You already have the one that I just mentioned, MJF versus Omega for the World Championship. You have Jon Moxley, who was challenged by Will Ospreay in a promo last night on Dynamite. He cut a great promo. Will Ospreay just looks meaner, tougher than he ever was, and I think he's really going to bring it to Moxley at Dynasty. You have FTR came out and cut a promo as well last night. Also a good promo. And then you have Cage and Cope challenging them for those titles. That for sure I think is going to be a title change. I think MJF is going to retain. Like I said in my last video, I truly think it's going to either be Will Ospreay or Darby Allin that is going to end up ultimately taking the belt off of MJF at All In. If it's going to be at All In, you gotta have Will Ospreay do it. If it happens sooner, let's say at Double or Nothing, I think it should be Darby Allin. But for sure at Dynasty, I'm going to go on record right now, early on, I think this is where FTR drops the belts. I think Cope and Cage and Cope, however you like to say it, I think they're going to win the belts, and then they're going to go on a run through all of spring and maybe successfully retain them at All In. But that could also be where they drop them. Either way, it's going to be one final run for them. A good farewell as one of the greatest tag teams of all time, Edge and Christian, who go by Cage and Cope in AEW. And, I just want to know, you guys, what you think in your memory. What are your favorite memories of both Christian Cage, Adam Copeland, Edge? Whether it's them as a team or singles competitor memories for both Christian and Edge, Adam and Christian Cage. Let me know down below. I'd really like to know. And then AEW is just not slowing down. They are continuing this great momentum, this fantastic 2026. Next week, they already announced a banger. Every week, there's just bangers and bangers and bangers. We got Pac versus Will Ospreay on Dynamite April Fool's Day. These two have met before, and it's going to be a good one. Before he faces Moxley at Dynasty, he's going to battle Pac in a rematch of their All Out 2024 match. That is going to really, really, really blow the roof off that place. AEW Collision last Sunday, not Saturday, but the Sunday half of Collision drew an average of 616,000 viewers. That is really, really good considering they had to adjust their times because of March Madness. Collision and Dynamite both have been gradually getting better and better in the ratings. They are now consistently beating NXT again, even though NXT originally ran away from Wednesday nights because they were getting pummeled by AEW. And Tuesday nights ended up being a better night for them for their ratings, but their product has been kind of poor as well in 2026 on top of Raw and SmackDown for WWE. And now we see the proof in the numbers that more people are starting to tune into AEW, more casuals. Maybe these casuals are becoming more consistent viewers because these numbers don't lie. And again, not including Max numbers, you're looking at close to probably 1 million viewers after you include in HBO Max for Collision. And Dynamite, I'll be interested to see how that does from this past Wednesday last night. And now, on to some very entertaining MJF stuff. And then, to close out the video after this, will be actually something that is related to the MJF news that I'm about to share with you for the Daily Dumb Take. But first, MJF and Dolph Ziggler, now goes by Nick Nemeth, really went at it, and MJF did not hold back. He responds to Nick Nemeth saying MJF reminds him of a young Dolph Ziggler. He goes on to say, MJF says, I don't remember ever being an overhyped mid-carder. More of it right here. Pause the video if you'd like to read the rest of it, but that's essentially summing it up. Saying that he couldn't lace his boots and do as well on the mic, which is honestly true. MJF is definitely better on the mic, better than, Dolph Ziggler could ever imagine to be on the mic. Nick Nemeth is probably somewhere thinking about how MJF is a multi-time AEW World Champ by the age of 30, and is like,
And it should be me!
It should be me.
I had to throw in that throwback. And now this goes on to my DDT of this video. I actually commented what I just said in that joke on a post about their back and forth online beef with the exact same thing I just said. Nick Nemeth somewhere thinking about how MJF is a multi-time world champ by age of 30 and is like, it should have been me. Here's a Daily Dumb Take. A comment right below me. Man, this dude is a multi-time world champ in WWE. LOL, way harder. Get the fuck out of here, he goes on to say. I go on to respond to him saying, dude, Nick was in the Spirit Squad when MJF was main eventing AEW and winning his first world title at the same age. One of them, referring to Nick Nemeth when he was Dolph Ziggler, was just a Money in the Bank cash-in, not like he put on a 5-star banger to win it like MJF just did against Hangman. Here's some other comments. He kind of doubled down on the Daily Dumb Take. He goes on to say, LOL, yeah, and WWE MJF is in AEW. Talking about little company winning a world championship in WWE is way harder. That's the point. MJF didn't even make the roster. He was doing backstage security in NXT when he was in WWE. So what the fuck are you talking about? Again, MJF was like 19 at that time. He went on to become an AEW champ at the age of 26. Nick Nemeth was in the dumbass Spirit Squad. And then he triples down. He says, not to mention MJF can't wrestle half as good as a worse version of Nick. Oh my God. That's the real joke. Nick is one of the best in-ring performers ever. MJF is nowhere near a conversation like that. Nobody puts himself in best wrestler conversations. He does it himself. I go on to say, Nick was the best at selling. I'll give you that, but he wasn't ever great. If so, why isn't he up there with the likes of Randy Orton? He did super kicks and sold really well. That's about it. If he truly is better than MJF, he would have won many, many titles in the 20 years that he was with WWE before he ultimately left them and went to TNA. So I know you guys are probably chuckling right now while I went over all of that, but that is your 1, 2, 3 times Daily Dumb Take by the same Eastan. And all jokes aside, it looks like Nick Nemeth and MJF are actually going to be facing each other May 1st at Monumental Moment. That should be really good. I'm actually very interested to see the match because I do like Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. But there are levels to pro wrestling, and at his current age, MJF is miles ahead of what Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth ever was at the age of 30. That's all I had in this episode of Screw the Script. I hope you enjoyed those clips that I had for you of the live episode of Dynamite that I was at last night. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on my claim at the beginning of the video saying that Dynasty is going to be better than WrestleMania and that Omega out-wrestled pretty much all of the episode of Raw. I have a closing song for you guys to close out this video, as it is something that I wrote the lyrics to and had the song created. Not my voice singing. I had it created by somebody else, but I hope you guys enjoy it. A lot of work went into it. As always, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.